Okay, now welcome along to the reverse grip incline Smith machine press tutorial. Now, one of the biggest focuses for this exercise here is to be able to use the reverse grip, adduct and very slightly tuck the arm path. What this position does is it means as we press, we drive more so through the clavicular head in a position of what is referred to as shoulder flexion. So rather than being in a flared out elbow position and driving the bicep towards the chest or the inner portion of the chest, the sternal division, when we tuck the elbow and move into the supinated grip, it allows us to move more so through that shoulder flexion and bias the clavicular or upper pec division of the pectoralis major. So a couple of key setup points here. When we're setting up the bench in the middle of a Smith machine, one of the best focuses or the best ways to do this is we first start off with a negligible load and we set the bar into the middle of the bench. So we can use the knurling or the lines of the Smith machine bar to make sure we're in the middle of the bench. What that basically means is that from that position, as we go to set ourselves up into this exercise, is that all we have to do if we're coming too high up like a guillotine on the chest is we just need to simply shift the bench directly backward. And we know because we're already in the middle of the Smith machine here that we shouldn't have to make any other modifications rather than just forward to back. Right, the next focus for this exercise here is making sure that when we're setting up the bench, the bar comes down and touches roughly where the lower pec or the nipple line is going to be. So once again, I'm just going to make my final adjustment, shift this back a couple of inches. Okay, now that brings me into the key execution elements for this exercise here. So a big thing that I really want to focus on is having my wrists in deep extension to begin with. What that means with a Smith machine is when I'm locked in, this looks like I'm almost breaking at my wrists, but as I unrack, my wrists become neutral. That then means I can generate a lot of force through my wrists without them being buckled over. So I want to make sure that I could essentially set a wristwatch flush with my hand and right down onto that wrist. So a couple of key mistakes you'll see is people are too tucked in with the elbows. You want to make sure that your elbows are directly underneath the wrists. In other words, my forearms, when I look in the mirror here, are going to be vertical. Okay, once again, a big focus on the shoulder flexion of driving the bicep up and toward my chin or up and in toward my lip region. Okay, so big focus of this one here, vertical forearms. It's going to be bringing the bar to the nipple line or to the lower chest, keeping a proud amount of extension and thoracic extension through the chest here, and trying to bias again with that supinated grip, the underhand grip with flush wrists, a lot of that shoulder flexion coming through that upper pec. And that is the tutorial for the reverse grip incline Smith machine chest press.